Yeah. Okay.
Are you ready? Is it 5? Oh. Okay, I'd like to call the committee of the whole, Tuesday, July 11th, 2023, open at 5 p.m. It is being held at council chambers temporarily located at 38 King George Street in Lake-Cowichan and transmitted electronically. Also, if you have any questions on anything, you can email general@lakecowichan.ca, and these will be dealt with at the end of the meeting during question period. I would like to acknowledge that our meeting is taking place on the unceded lands of the Subasa people, who we live, work, and recreate with humanity. Before we go into the meeting, I'd just like to thank the constable that helped save 3 people from a fire early Sunday morning. And I'm very proud of our community for all the people that have come together to help the family with funds and gift certificates and several different things and fundraisers. So I'd just like people to know that we're very proud of our community for that. We have the agenda, approval of the agenda. Do I have a? Oh, I didn't bring the late items, but they're late items first. No. Approval of the agenda would be Councillor Sandu and Councillor Clifford. All those in favor? And we don't have anybody in person at the moment, but they might sneak in after approval of the agenda. We should always ask, does anyone in the audience have input on any item on the agenda? And you'll have 3 minutes to speak to that. Minutes, and these are for information only. The minutes and recommendations have been ratified by council. The minutes of the committee as a whole from June 13th have been ratified. Are there any questions on those, or if there's questions or anything you need to discuss? Okay, moving right along. No business arising, no delegations, no correspondence. Finance, the financial report and strategic planning is here for discussion. Did anybody have any questions or queries? Right. Well, it's said fine. Oh, that's just the name of it. Finance Administration Strategic Planning. There was nothing on strategic planning. So the Director of Finance, Ms. Gill, did you have some?
I just wanted to note that the administration fees have now been posted on the financial statements. And a question was brought up about credit cards. So this is something that we have looked at. We can look at again if that is the desire of council for discussion later at the on the agenda. Please answer any of the questions you might have.
Any questions? Yeah.
Just to start, Mr. Smith, how are we looking for the click and the campground this year? Been busy or how's it going?
It's all good.
Good.
And you'll see that the financial report doesn't reflect a lot of our receivables, so actually between the that we have, you know, that are concentrated now. And this is our busy season, so that we've only get that. So our bookings are strong. Lakeview Park continues to be there.
Sorry.
Lakeview Park.
I had some questions on schedule of parks. I'm wondering the Cougar sign landscaping and I'm just wondering what is being done there. Is that okay to ask questions on that?
In what sense we cleaned it
Well,
up?
yeah, it says we've gone over budget on that. I just wondered what else is being done. Are you putting in grass?
Yeah, grass and a few plants.
Okay, and the duck pond, is that the washrooms that we're working on? That's over a little bit. Riverside Park, duck pond.
We've done some on the washroom, but some in the grounds too.
Okay, and then Trans-Canada Trail, quite a bit on that. Was that more Nelson Road, that area there? And I don't propose to tell parks people what to do, but I'm just wondering why grass when the weather is so dry and the Minister Ma yesterday said we've got to start saving water. And then I'm wondering, would it have been better to put gravel and, you know, more little rocks and little bushes at those places and the bus stop? Would that have been a better plan or?
I think it sounds like a better plan, but in the long run, the maintenance is much higher. If you get weeds, and little bits of grass in all the rock, we spend a lot of hours cleaning that up. We have that around the fire hall and it's very hard to maintain that. Or we have the grass, we can let it, we can water it or don't water it, let it go brown or depending on our situation for water.
Just a bit of a fire hazard.
Yeah,
I just wondered why that had. Okay, thank you. I use vinegar on mine because I have a lot of gravel in the front and that vinegar soap thing works really well. Counselor Frisbee. Oh,
Just to miss go, I understand the website's getting updated. Whereabouts in the budget is the expense for the website getting taken from?
That's being put in then.
Anything else on that? Okay, thank you. Next is Lake Coach and Building Inspectors Report. That's just for information. We don't have to move that. Are there any questions on that? No. Okay, we're moving along to municipal hall verbal update. Mr. Fernandez.
Well, this time I thought I'd do verbal. We did walk through a couple of weeks ago. Because they said the building is actually completed. And there were some deficiencies that we had listed to them as we did the walkthrough. And they're working on it. And I will have a meeting on Tuesday next week to finalize the completion of the building, and if there was nothing left, we are ready to move it.
By the end of July or
Well, hope.
any questions? Dr. Gomez?
The demolition of no child.
That would be as soon as we move in that we will put up the tent.
Agenda for the banking.
Anything else? Okay, that would be nice. Travel claims for the luggage, Counselor Sandu, I believe you brought that up.
I did. This is a question to staff, regarding the mileage claims is, where do you come up with the set point of where you start? So if you have another town, where's the start point?
The municipal office is the start point. That is what other communities do, but that's not to say we can not. do it.
And then going into like Duncan, it says like 28 kilometers. So that gets you to, the towns are the roundabout there. That's just under 28 kilometers. So.
Well, I think the other option is, if it does say in the honorary model and in our policies, that you can do a Google map. So you can do a printout from one point to the next, that would be exact. So, I mean, that's the other option to have. And it does say on the mileage form that is the option we have, because it's exact. And we're not dealing with unknown.
Because I did reach out to the CVRD to ask how they're paid, and they're paid, how their directors are paid is from their residence to their location where if they have other meetings or whatever, but it's from A to B, so it's not that somebody has in town, like we have to drive to, start it there, so.
Well, it's a bit different with CBRD because people come from different areas to attend the meeting. Ours is.
Well, in town, yes, but we're not paid for in town, but what I have like an average of 3 to 4 meetings a month out of town. So that's the question is, where is the start point? And then is the, through Google Maps and the odometer, is that what's called? That you would use those two, and that's what we would make.
Well, I think the best way to deal with that is through a policy enactment, to come up with a policy that says that's how we want to do it, and that'll be the best way to do it.
So we could do that at our next meeting in November. Thank you.
When you say Google Map, would that be as the crow flies rather than?
I know they follow the road, the best route to get there. No, not like the protocol.
I just wondered, I thought I didn't know that was.
You put in your plan and then, yeah, it's in there. And then that.
All right, policy change at next, or discussion. Use of credit cards, for utility and tax payment, Councilor Rebecca, we do have a list on this already. That's my speak to that.
Yeah, this was just, it seems that every time the tax bills come in, we get an influx of residents asking why they can't use their credit cards. So I said, well, I'll put it on the agenda and we can have some discussion and see whether there's a possibility of us going forward. There are many reasons. A lot of people like to use the credit cards because they get points, travel points, etc. Also, we all learned through COVID that it's okay to say we're gonna budget for those taxes, but most of us didn't even know what the final impact was gonna be until before the tax notices came out. And so it's, you know, yes, you can go ahead and make the best budgeting plans, but anything from marital to a death in the family, all sorts of situations can arise that somebody may not be able to pay that in full and may want to take advantage of their credit cards. And so the only one I found right now, I didn't do much researching, but at the town of Ladysmith does have a third party, and they do pass the cost of using that card on to the resident that wants to use it, because I know it's not fair for people to use their cards and residents that pay in full to absorb that cost. But if there's a way that we can find a way to move into the 20th century and allow residents another option, I'd like to see if we can look at that, but it's up to the table for discussion. Thank you.
Councilor Sandu?
I agree looking into this, but I agree that if somebody wants to pay their taxes by their credit card, that they have to pay all costs that the town will incur, that there's no cost to the taxpayers for individual residents.
Yes, did you have something? I did talk to the mayor of Ladysmith the other day. He wasn't sure how much they did charge, but he said all the extra fees have to be put on, so people would have to be aware it might be up to 3%.
And it depends on the card you use.
Yes, I know, and Duncan does not do it yet. Those are the only two that I researched at the time. But it is, if people want to do it, I think they should be allowed to do it as well and pay the extra money. Yes. Councilor
Is there a situation where there's a due date? If residents don't hit a payment, their payment goes up?
Yeah, 10%.
Yeah, so I think that the option of a credit card to moving on to save money, even if there is a 4%. I know American Express is a lot more expensive than other ones. But it come from a business perspective, I've always found it weird. I don't even know where my business debit card is. So when I come in here, it would be great to be able to pay for it on credit, and if there's a added cost to it, it's more options to pay with there.
May I ask you that? The only issue with that is it's got to be paid online. I think that's how it works for the other community. You
Yes,
come in here to pay it on credit card. If it's not.
so it would be automatic that the extra funds would come off as soon as they
As
go
soon as they
on.
Put it online.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they would want to do that. So there's concern.
Why couldn't we do it in here?
Maybe we can explain.
Because we don't know what the charge is gonna be, the third party knows what that charge is, and they cap that on at the time. So.
Could we just take the highest charge and just add on, so say 4%? Because I don't need a credit card that's up over 4%, so we just say flat rate 4%, we could make money on it.
I don't know if we should do
I'm
that.
only joking. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the only way is
Yeah.
to, but you'd have to separately add on each one. And when
If you
it's
miss
really
it.
backed up in here with property tax payments being long as they are on July the 4th, I don't know that you want to be doing that in the office. Like it's already nuts in here that day and if you want to make a credit card payment, then you can claim your homeowner grant online and pay your bill online. Lots of people are using online banking to pay their tax notices anyways, but we see a lot of cash and check lack of basic tax time.
I was just gonna say that, if you have a flat rate, like Councilor Frisbee said, and then somebody comes in, it's just like paying what you have party at 4% onto the total. And then
Yeah,
they just.
we might be able to design our system in such a way that it won't work easily, otherwise it's manually calculating it every time somebody's coming in here right now,
So
to do it.
their total times 4%, that gives you what they don't.
Yeah, but then, yeah, coding and entering is, yeah, it could possibly be set up, I can definitely look into that. But I don't, yeah, and I don't think that's how the other municipalities are doing it, I think doing it online and not accepting it.
Yeah,
But I can check that as well.
Yeah, Councillor.
Yeah, Lady Smith did say that there's ones you had to go through that third party online to do that.
And I think the city of Duncan's in the process of setting theirs up, and it's also gonna be online.
Oh.
Well, then we can.
I was looking on their website, and it's not working yet, but it looks like it's going to.
So we just,
For next year.
just do direction. For the
Yeah,
the
to-
staff,
Yeah,
To
well,
staff to come back. They will, yeah. That if Duncan does theirs, they'll have an idea. Super. Oh, sorry.
Can you pay online for business licenses? You gotta come in and do that, eh? Cause that's one, I don't know, I'm always credit card with businesses. But
We could maybe look at that too, using the portal for the business licenses for the credit card as well.
Direction staff for that as well. Okay. That was a good discussion. Parks, Rec and Culture, I kind of brought up parks earlier. Is there anything you want to add to that, Mr. Sandu? He's giving me a funny look.
No, I'm just thinking, no, I don't have anything back.
Did you have something else?
Yeah, there was somebody that had made a comment of coming across the towns on the Facebook page about when you put that about stage 3, we're now stage 3. Somebody came across it and then kind of shared it saying, I accidentally came across this, you know, so we're in stage 3 type of thing. So, but could we be more specific where we actually have the page of all the different stages?
You've been pointed to
Just
that.
on the, like, just that picture on the Facebook page, because I know the CBRD does that, so when you see that, you're like, oh, okay, now I know exactly what stage 3 is or stage 2 is. And then people understand, they actually can read something and whatnot, so.
It does go out with the taxes with that newsletter too. It's in the newsletter. Yeah, that I keep that on the fridge. As a gardener, I need to know I'm allowed to hand water for a while yet. Anything else on that? No? Okay, new business? Oh, wait a minute. Public Works and Environmental Services traffic study for Uptown, including Point Ideal.
Yeah.
Request for proposal.
I was a bit perplexed when I found out that there was an understanding that the CAO is to write up proposal call. I don't write up a proposal call, each department does it. And all I do is review, make sure that's, you know, that's exactly what we're looking for. And I think, I mean, all previous department heads have done their own. And I think, but the more complicated ones I deal with, really, I'm good, but I'm, you know, I don't have the time to write proposal call. Really, asking too much, but anyways, in any case, I think it's a bit late to go out for a proposal call on the traffic study at this stage. By the time you do it, summer's over.
Would it be better to do it in the spring?
It's best to start at early in the year. So that, you know, someone, we catch the traffic when it's busy.
How does everybody feel? Councilor Frisbee?
just obviously because it's not happening this summer. But I think that there are some hazards and risks down Point Ideal Drive at the moment. I talked to Mr. Sandu about this, but I think we could try some things to try and eliminate some of the hazards. And one thing I suggested was making the left side of Point Ideal Drive no parking. Because at the moment there's no footpath. So anyone on that parks on that side walks down the middle of the road. And they get changed on that side and leave their doors open.
You're parking on one side.
Yeah, and what it would do is it would cause the parking to go further towards the Point Ideal gate, but I'd estimate it wouldn't go right to it. And it would also force more people into the parking that we're going to. So I mean, it might be worth just trying it for 1 weekend and seeing what we'll do, just put cones down there or something, no parking. I realize there is shade on that side, so that's why people like to park there, but by the time they get back to their car, there's no shade. But I think that just getting people off the road, I think is the way forward. It's just a small part of what I think we're concerned about.
So if it works, we don't have to do the study.
Well, I think there was more of it to do with the intersection at the end of the road and trying to stop that, but I think that's one small part of it.
Why not?
Is that direction to staff to
Yeah.
try that now?
Why not?
And then.
Sorry, I should ask what your thoughts are in this public forum. What your thoughts are on that.
Well, it's gonna take a lot of parking away. That's one thing it'll do, and I don't know if there's enough parking to. As you know, when it gets really busy, both sides of that road is full and the parking lot. So that's, there's 60 some odd cars that can park in that stretch.
Yeah.
Where are they gonna go?
On Sunday, we had our busiest day, pretty similar numbers to some of our busiest times in the summer.
Yeah.
And we're still, the cars aren't quite going past the entrance to the parking lot. And I think if they go further down there, but even if we have parking on past the ballpark turn in, if we can park on the left there, I think it's fine. It's just we've got to get those people to stop walking down there.
Down the road?
So, I mean, I'm just thinking maybe try it for a day and just see how it goes.
Just the beginning of the road, you mean up to.
Just on the left, up to the ballpark, so we just, it's like,
That's not
some of the
cool.
things you see in the middle of the road. Is ridiculous.
Councillor
You just
Sanders?
have to walk across the road. There's a sidewalk there, but they don't.
They,
Not
they
just let
don't,
the car there.
they don't do that. Councillor Sanders?
So who would monitor that then?
Or would be, traffic people,
And are they here during the week or would it be?
not during the week, just the weekend. And the long weekend.
One day on the weekend, this is.
But it helps, but during the week, as you suggest, the control.
Yeah.
Leave it there. So that-
See what happens. Okay, Councillor Dick.
Just to piggyback on that, how is the parking going or the monitoring going on the parking on the
I
weekend?
get reports on it, they'll be good,
Are they actually ticketing or is it just in?
just compliance and. I mean, if we can avoid ticketing that, would be best. So far, we've been able to do that. And, these guys get to talk to people, I mean, actually people are wandering around, talking
Yeah.
to offenders and they move. And I guess there was an issue with people blocking the access. That was the issue I got back in the report. That access to the table top was blocked.
I think it's being blocked by the guys talking to the guys in the car. Like
Yeah,
they're stopping them and saying, hey, you
Yeah.
can't park here, and then there's a
Yeah.
whole lineup. But could be wrong.
That's Michelle and then, yeah.
But I think we do it fairly good on the weekend setting.
I went into the tourist information and talked to the fellow there, and he said that it was busy on the weekend, but he said everybody was observing the parking. And then I was there while they were redirecting people to go park down Point Ideal Road.
Yeah.
But I said to the fellow who was doing it, I said, it's fine to smack a mosquito during mosquito season, because no sooner is he trying to redirect one, and then whatever spots were empty, people were pulling in as quick as he was with the one person. And then I noticed about a half hour later, there was a second person there with him.
Yeah.
And that's when they set up a cone at the end, directing people as to where they were gonna park. So, but it seems to be working.
I think so, yeah. Councillor Sanders?
What is the cost to the, like, for the summer,
Approximately $1,500 per month.
per month? So, and so they're June, July, August, or,
Not too much fuel, it started a little later.
Yeah.
So it'll be 2.5 months.
so I actually like the fact that they're trying to educate people. And instead of saying, you've got 5 minutes, you see the interaction and hopefully that's not backing traffic up. But I think it's important for, if you come across in a more positive way, like parking's over here too, I think people out of town will come back next time and hopefully, okay, I know we can't park here type of thing, right? So I like the idea of this year, just to see how it goes. And
It was quite interesting because when I was standing there and one group of people were asked to park down Point Ideal. And you could hear the two guys and they said, well, let's just plug our car into the charger. At the charging station, then we could stay here. So I just wandered over and chuckled and I said, yeah, but I said, you don't want to come back and find you've been ticketed, but why don't you go down Point Ideal, you can park there all day, and they went, oh, can we? And as soon as I said that they could park there all day, no charge, they put everything back in the car and off they went. But people
There you
get
go.
quite inventive when it comes to finding a parking spot.
Everywhere. Yeah, Councillor Sandu?
On the main street though, South Shore, you're seeing a lot of businesses that the owners are parking all day on South Shore. And I'm not directing it at you, actually. But there are a couple
It's
business
true.
owners that do park all day. And so I think that needs to be, like, if we're doing this with the cost to out of towners, then we've got to, say to our business owners, you can't be parking in front of your store on the street for 8 hours.
We do watch though, because the businesses, when it comes to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm doing a long weekend, none of us park on the road. But during the week, when it's not that busy, we are guilty of that.
It's
But
just that,
never on a long weekend.
it's just that the sign there says 2 hour parking, so if we don't follow the rules, we can't stick anyway.
Then how do we sit here?
Councillor Frisbee.
With the hotel beside Ed's coffee shop or the motel coming on board, there's about 9 units there. They've taken away parking, they're parking in front with a grassed area now. So potentially there's some big units in there, there could be over 10 cars staying there. Is there any parking plan for that hotel?
Well, they don't have any parking.
Yeah, so it's just
Yeah.
free for all.
They park any place there. Yeah, I don't even know why that hotel is located.
It used to be the doctor's office when I was there. I know I'm not supposed to talk about the past, but it was the doctor's office. And, but, yeah. it's- No, I was in park down the street or across the way, like, I don't think the library wasn't there. I
People
usually
use the
park
park
in,
there.
in behind the post office is where I park and walk around. Councilor Roman.
So can we ask the superintendent then, with that little motel being right there next to Ed's, what's the plans for the Casapi Park though? Because there's still forced parking space in there for now.
Just minor parking, that's for community use. It's going to be basically tree and grass. With a few spots.
Two parking spots, so that might help.
Kind of alleviate some of that, yeah. The gravel part would be, yeah, 6 or 8, maybe, parking,
Yeah.
maybe more if we can. Councilor Frisbee.
Is there money in the budget to do starting this year?
We've got some.
There is some. Is there any work planned for this year?
So we have a little bit planned, but I'm trying to postpone it because we have projects that are gonna happen there. One is Duckpond Bridge. And then we may be possibly running a water line under the river. If we do that, we'll be digging that part back. So I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you. Good discussion again. New business, amendment to council procedure bylaw to include public input section at start of meeting. Is that for the regular meeting?
Yeah, I'll give you a little background on this. Prior to 2018, there was only one question period. And then in 2018, we decided to add a verbal comment from the public at the beginning of the meeting, and then the question period, so there were 2. And then in 2021, you thought, because the public were not responding to either one, we'll get rid of one, so we got rid of the public input section from the agenda. And so now we've just gotten one, which is the question period. So I guess you are asking to go back to one that was available for the public input and the question period. Okay,
It's just that there was that COVID period where nobody came in anyway, and I know we don't have anybody here tonight, but we are trying to encourage people to come in, and if you have something to say about what's on the agenda, to do that, rather than have it on Facebook or somewhere else where we can deal with it here.
so the 2018 bylaw at the public input happened after the delegation of representation. Is that where you want to leave it?
Well, I thought it would go after the approval of the agenda because you're speaking to the agenda, they would be speaking to the agenda.
After the approval of the agenda,
Yeah, I think that's the best place. I've got it there on mine, I'm not the boss,
so as long as you tell me that.
is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you approve the agenda and then you say if you have any input. And it is important.
But you're not gonna add to the agenda.
No, it's only on what's on the agenda, and then at the end, what I said is we discuss it at the question period then. If there's any discussion necessary, this question period is supposed to be for questions, not people telling us
Okay,
what they
so
want.
I'll add it there and bring it back.
Okay,
I was just gonna say, look for the CVRD has theirs, because they've got those. I just can't remember where the,
You want to follow that?
yeah, that follows the agenda, but they've got it on there.
Yeah, but I think approval after the agenda.
Yeah. because that's what you're doing. Yeah, I think that's what we
So
do.
it'll come to you for 3 readings for the next
Okay,
council meeting.
Councilor Matt.
And there's also something on the CBRD, I can't get this to open, but it also clearly states that when you go to question period, and it'll say, this is not the time to make statements, etc. Like it's very clear.
It's on the agenda.
It's on their agenda when you go to that portion,
Okay.
and I can't open this up to find it right now.
I
Yeah, if not, I'll try to find it and send it to you.
So maybe it should say, because our question period says for in-person, maximum 3 minutes per speaker. But maybe in that it should say, this is for questions, not whatever we want to use, comments or.
But it's
read
very,
the question period.
it's very clear.
It is to be asking a question and not, we had a time where a couple of people came up and did a whole bunch of stuff for 3 minutes and tore down the staff and everything else, and that's not what it's for at all. It is for a question, and that's it. So we should have that in there. So direct for the staff. Is that it? Oh, Lord, now. Anything else from anyone? No? Notices of motion, were there,
What, can I just go back and I just found it?
thing?
Yeah, the purpose of the public input period is to provide the public with an opportunity to comment on an agenda item before the board, committee, or commission considers the item. The public input period procedure policy provides for the public input period to proceed in a timely fashion. Public input period items cannot include matters which are part of a public hearing. Oh, that's not the part,
We want to worry about the other
Yeah.
one.
but I'll find
He'll
it.
find it. We can.
Oh, questions shall be addressed to the chair. It must be truly questions and not statements or opinions. And questioners are not permitted to make a speech.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
But we just have to.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
and
might
that-
be more clear.
That means, well, it is up to the chair to say point of order and we don't do that. Well, we'll get your questions. Oh, sorry. Anything else? Notices of motion, were there done? Are there any? No? Did you have any? No, you're just looking stuff up. And now we come to number 11, question period. We did mention already, emails would be to general@lakecouncil.ca. We now do not stop for those. Because we say it at the beginning. Were there any emails with questions? And there's no in-person here this evening. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Oh, forgive me. I just see as staff, I don't think that's the same. Did you have a question?
Off the clock.
I know.
No questions.
No questions? Forgive me for the phone call, didn't mean to do that. Okay, we need a motion to go to in camera. He's got something on. No. Do we need a motion to go to in camera,
Yeah.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yeah.
And then you will explain what the camera is about?
Okay.
Okay,
Section 92 of the meeting, as before. The meeting is part of the meeting is closed to the public. Council will state by resolution by the meeting is to be closed. And the reason is not which the meeting is closed falls under the following section. of the community charter. Section 91C, labor relations to other employee relations. And just for council information, so there's no agenda, because I don't have topics.
We don't have the topic, but
So
let's
it's just-
we'll
that's
just
just all.
do it. Do we have a motion to go to encounter? Counselor Christie, Counselor Von Ecken, all in favor? And we're going to adjourn to encounter. And we are awesome. Just so you know. and you can tell them what it is, so you can write it up. No, that's not, it's to make the agenda down.
Hey, you have a stay for this?
Not really.
Yeah.
That will.
Oh, would it?
The bill, and then, the hey, wouldn't allow.
For lemonade.
Yeah, right.
So that means.
You're over? Yeah.